Extra cash, should it go in the market or should it be paying off your mortgage early? My name is Kristina Strickland. I'm the managing partner of Rally Wealth and Benefits. We are a financial planning firm in Overland Park, Kansas. We work every day to help individuals reach their financial goals, whether it's through investment planning, tax planning, or estate planning. Today we're going to talk about if there are extra funds or if there are competing goals in your life, what's more important, saving money in the market or paying off your mortgage? And one of the things that I always like to remind our clients of as we're having this discussion is that there are two things that are true in life. Well, there are a lot of things that are true, but the two that apply to this are, there is a very, very mathematical black and white answer on which one makes the most sense. I call that the spreadsheets. What makes sense in the spreadsheets, very black and white. It either makes sense or it doesn't. That is truth number one. Truth number two is we don't live in spreadsheets. And so as we have this conversation about what makes more sense, putting money in the market, paying off the mortgage, I ask that you just always keep in mind, we don't live in a spreadsheet world. And so I want to go through some factors and some things to consider, and I'll tell you what the spreadsheets say. But again, at the end of the day, what helps you sleep better at night is what's important. And so some things to consider are the interest rate on your mortgage. So for example, if you bought your home at a 2.5% interest rate, that's a really good rate. And carrying that debt every month is not costing you a lot of interest. So one could argue that investing in a conservative portfolio would probably yield better results. In basic terms, if your mortgage interest rate is for example, 2.5%, you could speculate that you'd make more money in the market than the interest you're paying on your house, in which case it would make sense to invest that extra money in the market instead. Now, the caveat to that is, of course, we can't predict the markets. I can't tell you that the markets would always return better than that 2.5% interest rate on your house. I think if we looked at long-term market cycles, history would tell us that that's probably a pretty good indication, but I can't, as a financial planner, sit on a video and tell you, yes, the market's always gonna be better. And at the end of the day, it's your decision. Does your gut tell you that you could earn more money in the market than the interest you're paying on your mortgage? So that's one consideration. The second consideration is the opposite. What if your interest rate is 6.5% or 7%? Then you could argue, yeah, this is a pretty high debt. I should probably get rid of this sooner. So those are kind of the two competing factors, right? The details that most people don't necessarily consider is, what does it look like for your financial plan? And what I mean by that is, I'm in my 30s, I'm hoping to work for 30 more years. I have a 30-year mortgage. So my trajectory would be that my mortgage would be paid off before I retire. But that's not the same for everyone. And so we need to look at, what is your goal for retirement? Or maybe your goal is to put a child through college. Maybe your goal is to buy a beach house. Whatever the financial goal is, what's the impact on that goal if we pay the house off early or if we invest those extra dollars in our financial portfolio? While I'd love to say it's a one-size-fits-all answer, it's not. It's, what's your goal? A good rule of thumb is most individuals should not want to go into retirement with a lot of debt, i.e. a mortgage, credit card, car payment, things like that. If you've got a sizable portfolio that can sustain high monthly mortgage amounts, great, then let's do it. No harm, no foul, right? How much do you need each month in retirement? In that monthly amount, does that include a mortgage? And can your portfolio sustain that monthly cash flow need? If the answer is yes, then by all means keep doing what you're already doing, especially if your mortgage interest is low enough that you could make an argument that you could make more in the market. Now, same scenario, we do that retirement projection. How much do you need every month in retirement? Does that include a mortgage payment? And can your portfolio sustain that? If the answer is no, then the first thing we look at is, can we save more money? Or can we reduce that monthly cash flow needed in retirement? And for most people, the mortgage is a very large chunk of where they're spending money every month. So if I need, for example, let's say I need $7,000 a month in retirement, but maybe $2,500 of that is a mortgage, then yeah, let's do the math on, can I get rid of that mortgage sooner? So maybe I only need $4,500 a month in retirement because I don't have my mortgage, and now my portfolio can sustain that. We won't know until we run the projections, right? In addition to that, some other things to consider are, in your mortgage, do you have principal, interest, taxes, and insurance? In which case you may have paid off the principal and interest, but you still have taxes and insurance. So all of those are things that we need to consider. In addition to that, we also need to consider job stability and career stability. I had a conversation with an individual probably 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. Initial conversation, hey, what are your financial goals? How can we help you get there? Financial goals were pretty simple. I want to retire. I don't want to have debt when I retire. So we're going through the projections of, where are they at? How much are they saving? All that fun stuff. Then we come down to, okay, you don't want to have debt. What are the extra dollars each month that we can put towards getting this debt reduced? Well, through that conversation, it turned out that that person didn't have an emergency fund. And so then there's kind of this conversation, and I don't mean this to sound negative, but I think this is very true. If you're paying extra money on your mortgage every month, and then you lose your job, or you retire earlier than you expected, or you become disabled, or you have an injury, something prevents the earning from coming in the way that it has previously, and you've been making all these extra mortgage payments, but you don't have an emergency fund. The problem with that is, yes, you're sleeping better at night because you're reducing your debt. But if you lose your ability to bring in income, you've made all these extra mortgage payments. The only way you're gonna get that is if you did a cash out refinance. And if you've lost your ability to make income, you've greatly reduced your ability to do a cash out refinance. And so I just come at it from the perspective of maybe it's a good idea to pay the mortgage off sooner as it relates to the overall 360 degrees of your financial plan. But it's only a good idea if those extra payments that you're making towards your principal every month are dollars that you can truly afford to no longer have liquid and available to you. And so here's a good strategy that I think a lot of people should consider. Maybe I open an emergency fund at my local bank if I don't already have one, or maybe I do have one. I do a CD, or I start to invest some of my emergency fund. I've still got the money there if I need it, but perhaps the interest or the dividends or the CD coupon, if you will, that I'm earning off of my liquid assets, maybe that earning can go towards my principal. And so I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm reducing my principal, but I've still got the liquid assets available to me if I need them. And those are types of things that we help our clients with every day at Rally Wealth and Benefits. So if you're making that determination towards any debt, mortgage, credit cards, cars, look at how much money can I stack towards this? Do I have an emergency fund? Would I be okay if I really did lose the access to those dollars because I've put them towards that debt? And then if I'm okay with that, what's the smartest way to go about it, right? Again, that's where we look at what's the interest rate. How much is that mortgage actually costing you versus what could I potentially do in the market? Again, we can't predict the markets, but we can study history and we can make informed decisions. So those are the brief things that you should be considering. If you want to talk through that and have an actual projection ran, if you want, again, we don't live in spreadsheets, but if you want to look at the spreadsheet and know, yes, I can say in black and white numbers, this makes sense mathematically, then give us a call, shoot us an email, check out our website. We've got a ton of great resources there, and we would love to help you work through that.